there ain't no reconciliation. There ain't no fixing Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane issues. Pooh Shiesty, once off the label, like again, by force, by coercion, or Gucci Mane could just do it an easy way. But Gucci is thinking he could reconcile. Pooh Shiesty is at a point where he can't reconcile, according to Hernandez.
Pooh Shiesty is in serious danger after rumors surfaced that Gucci Mane allegedly sent his top hitters to get his stolen respect back in blood. What was supposed to be a triumphant homecoming quickly spiraled into one of the messiest fallouts hip-hop has seen in years. Now the streets are buzzing, saying Gucci wants his name, his power, and his respect restored by any means necessary, and this time, it's different. People are whispering that this isn't the same Gucci Mane the game once knew. Pooh Shiesty, born Lontrell Donnell Williams Jr., is a Memphis rapper who exploded onto the scene with Back in Blood featuring Lil Durk. Raised in the heart of South Memphis, he grew up in an environment where survival came before everything and respect had to be owned, not asked for. In those trenches, loyalty was law and disrespect could cost you your life. His family had deep street ties, and Shiesty learned early that your word was everything. Memphis wasn't glamorous, it was raw, unforgiving, and violent, with different sets clashing and young hustlers constantly trying to prove themselves. His cousin Big Scar was more than just family. They were like brothers, moving together and protecting each other in a city where trust was rare. That Memphis energy shaped Shiesty's music and mindset, but it also meant he could never fully escape the code he was raised on. At the same time, Gucci Mane was running his empire out of Atlanta, building 1017 into one of the most respected labels in the South. Gucci was known for spotting raw talent and turning it into stars, but he was also known for being ruthless when he felt crossed. Then tragedy struck. Big Scar, who was signed to Gucci Mane's 1017, passed away unexpectedly, shaking both the family and the label to its core. This wasn't just business, this was blood. In Memphis, family is everything. From Pooh Shiesty's point of view, when someone from your bloodline passes, you're supposed to show up and show out, no excuses. That's where the situation turned messy. According to Big Scar's family, when they reached out to Gucci Mane for help with funeral expenses, the response wasn't what they expected. They claimed Gucci only sent $10,000 for flowers and said he couldn't cover the funeral because his wife's birthday was coming up. Coming from a millionaire rapper, that explanation felt like a slap in the face. Big Scar's people took to social media and aired Gucci Mane out, accusing him of blocking their calls and refusing to help when they needed him most. Emotions were running high. They were saying things like, $10,000 for flowers ain't nothing, me brother was worth way more than that. The backlash was immediate and loud, and the streets were watching closely. That situation left a bitter taste in Pooh Shiesty's mouth. Big Scar wasn't just an artist, it was family. And to Shiesty, it felt like Gucci Mane had disrespected his blood at the worst possible moment. In Memphis culture, when someone dies, the entire community is supposed to come together. For Gucci to appear unwilling to fund a proper funeral for one of his own artists was viewed as pure disrespect. Around the same time, Gucci Mane was also going back and forth with Big 30 online, throwing slick shots in comment sections and moving like he was untouchable. All of this started adding up. Pooh Shiesty was watching closely, taking mental notes. To him, it looked like a pattern Gucci Mane not giving Memphis artists the respect they deserved. And that didn't sit right. This wasn't just about money. It was about principle. When you sign artists to your label, they become family, and family is supposed to be protected, not treated as disposable. Shiesty felt like Gucci was moving like Memphis talent was expendable, and that kind of energy always comes back around. Still, despite all the drama surrounding Big Scar's funeral, when Pooh Shiesty came home dealing with his legal issues, Gucci Mane was one of the first people to publicly show him love. On the surface, everything looked cool, but beneath that, the tension was still there, waiting to explode. When Gucci Mane publicly posted about Pooh Shiesty's return, fans assumed the 1017 camp was about to heat back up with new collaborations. On the surface, it looked like business as usual. But behind the scenes, Shiesty wasn't rocking with Gucci the way he used to. The situation surrounding Big Scar had permanently changed how he viewed his relationship with 1017. While Pooh Shiesty was locked up, he had nothing but time to think. And when he came home, his mindset was completely different. He started looking at the music industry through a business lens instead of an emotional one. He realized he was already a millionaire with his own money, his own street connections, and a loyal fan base that would follow him regardless of what label name was attached to him. That led to a hard question. What could Gucci Mane really do for him now that he couldn't already do for himself? At that point, Shiesty began thinking about ownership and percentages. Why split profits with a label he felt didn't respect him or his family? He had already proven he could make hits. The streets were behind him heavy, and he didn't need anyone holding his hand anymore. So when Gucci Mane reached out about re-signing or working on a new project together, Shiesty didn't jump at the opportunity like he once would have. He moved slower, more calculated, and Gucci immediately felt that shift in energy. The streets noticed too. People were saying Pooh Shiesty had outgrown 1017 and no longer needed the label. Other offers started coming in, with better terms and more respect attached. Yo Gotti and CMG were especially interested, which made sense since they were all from Memphis and understood the culture on a deeper level. At the same time, Shiesty was hearing rumors that Gucci Mane had been talking slick about Memphis artists in general, acting like they should be grateful just to be signed to 1017. That kind of arrogance didn't sit right with someone who came from the trenches and earned everything he had at in just a few months. Pooh Shiesty went from being a loyal 1017 artist to questioning the entire relationship. He had reached a level where he could call his own shots, and that independence quietly threatened Gucci Mane's control. And just as Shiesty was settling into that freedom and mapping out his next move, he found himself in a heated confrontation with the very man who helped put him on the map. On a day nobody saw coming, Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane linked up in the studio to talk business. What was supposed to be a straightforward conversation about their future working relationship quickly turned personal and then explosive. According to people close to the situation, Gucci Mane was pushing hard for Shiesty to stay with 1017, likely offering better terms and more money to keep him in the fold. But Shiesty wasn't interested. His mind was already made up. He wanted independence, full control, and he wasn't backing down no matter what was put on the table. Things started heating up when Gucci Mane shifted the conversation toward loyalty, reminding Shiesty that he was the one who helped put him on. The expectation was clear gratitude, respect, and compliance, just like other artists before him. But Pooh Shiesty wasn't having it. He fired back, bringing up Big Scar and accusing Gucci of disrespecting his family during one of the hardest moments of their lives. That's when the energy in the room completely changed. The argument escalated fast. Shiesty reportedly told Gucci he wasn't the same man he used to bet at. He'd gone soft and lost touch with the culture that made him. Tension filled the studio, and everybody could feel something was about to crack. Gucci Mane had security present, but Shiesty didn't come alone. His crew was deep, and the numbers immediately shifted the balance of power in the room. Before anyone could calm the situation down, things went left. Shiesty and his people allegedly robbed Gucci Mane right there in the studio, taking his wedding ring and his expensive watch while security stood by, unable to intervene. And this wasn't just about jewelry. Taking a man's wedding ring is deeply personal. That's his marriage, his pride, his symbol of respect. Snatching that sends a message far beyond money. It says you're not untouchable. You can be violated like anybody else. The whole situation happened so fast that even Gucci's security couldn't stop it. When you're outnumbered and caught off guard in a closed space, survival becomes a priority. Pooh Shiesty never denied what happened, and his stance was simple. Gucci Mane had it coming. From Shiesty's perspective, the disrespect started with Big Scar. This wasn't random, it was payback. In his mind, it was just settling the score in the only language he felt Gucci Mane truly understood. Gucci Mane wasn't just dealing with getting robbed by his own artist, it was dealing with the humiliation of it happening in front of witnesses who were guaranteed to talk. The story spread fast. Within hours, the streets were buzzing, social media was on fire, and the hip-hop world was dissecting every detail. And for Gucci, the damage went deeper than the jewelry. This incident exposed something people had already been whispering about for a while. Fans started saying this wasn't the same Gucci Mane from back in the day. The old Gucci would have handled this instantly, no hesitation, no debate. He would have slid on Pooh Shiesty without a second thought. But this version of Gucci the married, reformed, business-minded mogul was moving differently. Instead of reacting immediately, he appeared to be calculating his next move. And that hesitation had people questioning whether he'd gone soft or lost the edge that once made his name ring in the streets. The talk was heavy. Folks were saying the old Gucci would have had hitters at Shiesty store the same night, ready to handle things a traditional way. But according to people close to the situation, Gucci wasn't rushing, was planning. Word started circulating online that he had already put the word out to his top shooters, but he wanted everything handled clean and precise. Those close to Gucci's camp said he wasn't even as mad about the watch or the ring as people thought. What really burned him was a disrespect. Getting robbed in your own studio, in front of your own people, is the ultimate violation. And the wedding ring, that made it personal. Bringing his wife and family into street business crossed a line that couldn't be erased. Gucci Mane was reportedly telling people that Pooh Shiesty had turned this into something deeper than business. From that point on, it wasn't about money, it was about respect. Social media stayed split down the middle. Some praised Shiesty for standing up for his family and refusing to be disrespected. Others warned that he had made a dangerous mistake by violating someone with Gucci Mane's connections, reach, and long memory. One thing was clear, though the situation was far from over. Gucci Mane's response to being robbed became a major test of his standing in the streets. Even though he's evolved into a businessman and family man, the streets still judge him by old rules. Losing a wedding ring and a watch wasn't about material value, it was about respect, reputation, and power. Letting something like that slide would send a dangerous message that Gucci Mane could be touched, and no street legend wants that label attached to their name. What made the situation even more complicated is that Pooh Shiesty wasn't acting without reason. From his perspective, Gucci Mane's handling of Big Scar's funeral was a deep personal disrespect to his family. In his mind, this wasn't random, it was payback. But the streets have their own code. You don't rob your former boss in his own studio and expect the situation to end quietly. That move crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed, locking both sides into a conflict that only had bad endings on the table. The real tragedy is that none of this had to happen. With better communication and more respect early, one especially during Big Scar's passing, this entire situation could have been avoided. Instead, ego, pride, and silence allowed resentment to build until it finally exploded. Now, fans may never know how this truly gets resolved. It could go the legal route, spill into street justice, or if cooler heads prevail, to sit down behind closed doors. Industry insiders have reportedly tried to step in and mediate, knowing both artists have too much to lose if this goes any further. But when family is involved and respect is questioned, common ground becomes hard to find. The streets are watching closely, because whatever happens next will shape how both Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty are remembered in hip-hop history. Will Gucci Mane prove he still has that old energy, or will he choose to handle this strictly through business and legality? At the end of the day, both men have families, careers, and legacies to protect. Hopefully, wisdom outweighs pride and this situation ends without anyone getting seriously hurt. But if hip-hop history has taught us anything, it's that when respect is on the line, anything can happen. Even in 2026, the streets still have rules, and ignoring them can lead to consequences that ripple far beyond the music.